Back again with another video. These dudes backgated out here, bury their body on top of the building one by one. But enough of that about my current situation. Still doing my lawsuits. Look like I have to add more lawsuits. But anyway, I'm gonna make a video on how to save electricity. It's just gonna be discussing the principles of electricity, current, voltage, amperage, current, choosing copper or aluminum using the American version of AWG or United Kingdom wire gauge system or the China gauge system. It's pretty hard to say. Everyone's owed China, and China owes everyone. But the problem with China is like everyone owes China more than they owe, more than when China owe anyone, because everything came from China. Yeah, my beard is becoming white. Had to save it down because my hair started turning white as well. Nope. Soon I began off the gray, and I said, "Thou shalt not pass." Straight middle finger to everyone. But enough about that. How to save electricity. Um, Electricity is a voltage that's been applied by the power grid. Power grid is all the main source of the city electricity. That's Thomas Edison version. Tesla version is a power grid that has free electrons going with unique signature identified to determine how much you use. Too bad, because that would make it cheaper, easier, but don't mind. Who also had help from a brown guy at that time frame to make it, but that's never going to be mentioned. And sometime around Africa old days, an empire that was also inventing electricity, they got wiped. The floor with. So electricity is based from the power grid itself. How the power grid gets this power, it is by a few things. There's solar panels in California, in New York, California. There's a California, Arizona, yeah. There's a solar panels, like solar forms, and they are wired to each other where the silicon get excited in the electric current. It builds the voltage and the current passes through the wires, and it goes to the power grid. And then there's windmills. Now, solar energy is powered by the sun, of course, while windmills is like a generator. It's just wind blowing a freaking fan that has a motor attached to it. What powers the windmills is the wind itself, aka windmill, for those who didn't know, or those who can't comprehend that. That's why it saves energy in itself. Now, solar energy have its downfall. If it get too hot, the silicons can break with the current technology, as in they get burnt out. They get too excited with the electron. If they burn one electron, it burns another electron, and they burn another silicon electron on the glass, and you just have to replace it. Sometimes they can get up to 2,000 Fahrenheit. From my experience from working in that field, in my house that I'm currently getting rid of, if I can get another one, I'm going to build this one up. I was going to add solar panels to the top of it, but And then windmill problem is if it gets too cold or the coating of the metal itself can freeze up and lock, and that can break one windmill and usually break another one because the wind turbines burn down, or the magnetic core, the copper, the magnet, or aluminum, whatever they use, can get frozen and get frozen, they get moist, and then short circuit. That's that. And then there's the hydro dams, which is now hydro dams and geo dams and hydropower are different things. It's pretty hard to explain. The hydro dams are building a giant dam and using the force of water to come down. Now, they all have to use a form of generator to hit that water. Now, it can become steam or just heated water pushing down so it have more force of PSI to push down. The problem with these is that can, what's the word for it? Dangerous for the environment if the dam break, or you had to replace them generators, you had to divert the water, so you had to constantly do construction and stuff. And the other downfall is that it can be devastating to the environment of what when it burns material from the water itself, instead of just having the water push the rotors that push the magnetic core. Geotherms is using the heat from the earth to generate it. Problem with that is you need to dig a lot to run a city with the current technology. Little technology that we know of. And then there's the geodam and geothermal. The geodam is like hydrodam. It's just that it's a giant boiling pit and just produce heat, and the heat build up in the oxygen in the air, and bam. While geothermal is using heat from the earth. The other one is wave energy, which is the ability to use the ocean currents to generate electricity on the floating buoys, and the floating buoys act as the electricity generators, and that will produce the current. Now, to save electricity on your household is pretty hard to. It's not hard to say. It's just that or apartment. Now, apartment is only so much you can do about it. Townhouse is only so much you can do about it unless you own it. Actually, even a townhouse, if you own that section of the townhouse, there's only so much you can do about it. For that situation, the best thing to do is replace every single light bulb, use energy saving equipment, check your socket, and use energy saving light bulbs, plugs, freaking just energy saving equipment. Keeping your light bulb changed, make sure your wires are not short circuiting, stuff like that. Now, a house is another story. If you can be cautious with this, because like I said, I was an apprentice electrician, and I have to say I've been electrocuted at least 5 times. Now, in a household or anywhere wise, that you need to have the right wires to it. If your wires are too big, it will draw too much current, and that will cause the wattage to go up higher than what's needed necessary. They could short circuit stuff as well. But if it's too small and not the white wire, it could short circuit, burn the wire out, and you could have a fire inside your wall, or it could just be arcing, and you just burning way more electricity out. So you have a higher wattage uses, and then you have a higher kilowatts uses, which means you have a higher bill. And then there's the plugs. You have the proper plug of amperage to match the items you uses. It's hard to say because America is 220 voltage for houses. Then there's used to be 180 and 200. And then certain buildings like this one is around 1000 voltage to run this whole area, each building. And then some large super houses like 400 voltage, some buildings like 2000 voltage, whatever. The reason why I said that is because of the proper voltage in your house with the outside main breaker. You need to be the white watches to support the whole house. Where basically you have a voltage come in and you need something to handle the current or the amperage so you can hold the proper current. And the main fuse breaker should be about, I don't know, 600 amps or 400 amps. Because 600 amps times 220 voltage equals so many wattage. And that wattage is the whole stable build for the whole house. The reason why it sounds low because your house is not using all that wattage at once. You're not always running this. That's why you always that's why I always unplug my stuff because it still draws energy to it as a preparation current or potential current, meaning that it's right there ready for uses when you come on. That's why you unplug it because you're still using it. And that's why you need to, check your stuff. It's pretty hard to say this because you cannot, as a homeowner, you can touch everything outside but the meter itself. Everything is your responsibility. Where you have a service drop line or a service lateral. A service drop line is just wires come in over into your house, while service lateral wire comes under your house and up. Now, you can touch all that, but not the meter. And it's like a bunch of bull crap or whatever. Now, what saves you electricity in this area is make sure you have the proper wires, proper kinds of wire, the proper gauge of wires going throughout your location to those specific sockets. Every bathroom or any place near water or any place, it's hard to say for the coding, like I said, stupid. My my fact is any place that near water you need to have a GHFC or GFLI. It's called a UK US plug. They prevent water from coming in or turning themselves off at the fuse breaker from water coming in to touch water or if it's get too much moisture. And then the super expensive kind UK and China have where it sends the moisture in the air and it will just turn off completely. And it has to be away from a certain feet away from showers and baths and stuff like that and sinks. Everywhere else is the AFC. Most townhouses, apartments, and houses do not have AFC plug everywhere else. And like one AFC plug is like $20. So imagine place every plug in your location. That's how it's business, but it's the safety, it's the standard protocols to code. These plugs are meant for preventing arc jump. If there's an arc in your wire, the fuse break will shut off and you have to turn it back on. And to save electricity by doing this method is you look at the fuse breaker to turn off and you can tell which wires are doing it or which sections are doing it and you can fix that, get the proper gauges before it go too late. That's how arc work. The other way that arc work is by preventing arc jumps because it have three different wires in it besides grounding the neutral and the positive wire. It has the three safety wires in it, but those are super expensive ones. They like eat the arc or any electrons that are currently jump off. Eat the electrons. Pretty much it. Having the right proper wires to it. Having now there's the main breaker, which is somewhere outside. It's supposed to be outside. It's supposed to be near the electrometer or a certain distance away from it if you can get to it outside of safety. And then there's the main breaker. Then the main fuses or main breaker or house fuse, where it's inside your household. Now this will control your whole section of the house inside. It does not control the main breaker. The main breaker controls everything, but the one on the inside just controls the inside. And these had to be set up right. I don't want to go into details. You need grounding. You need a certain right fuses and certain like fuse breakers and stuff like this. But fuse breaker come in amperage and how big these boxes look at the larger the amperage is. Like me, I have a welder attached to my house and I need a 60 amp fuse breaker, but that would burn out so much electricity out my household that I did not even install it. I just bought the fuse breaker because I was going to attach it to a building generator so it can, if my generator dies, it can pull power from my house, but it would take like months before it get up there so it can save electricity and power my generator at the same time. But 60 amps plus the 220 volts my house provides so many wattage that it would be more than enough to run some things in my house, but I had to turn everything off where they didn't use it. That's why you don't test stuff like that to your house. And then stuff like that, you're supposed to look at the back of what your material uses. It will tell you how many wattage it uses, how much voltage it can handle. There's the US voltage, which is 220, and then there's the international voltage, which is 120 or 180, meaning the plugs are different. Now, I'm an apprentice. I was an apprentice electrician. I have not worked electrician in a while, so do not quote me on this. I am a ISA was ISA house inspector and all this stuff, blah 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 bullcrap. So, like, you do not want to have any sockets near a heating source or water source, but in terms of saving electricity, make sure you buy saving energy stuff. If your stuff starts shaking or overheating, it means you having too much current coming to it. And that's something that could be said about your stuff because of it means you're arcing in there. You have some type of spike in the wire or the system itself is bad. You need to get changed or check, replace or fix or something. The main thing is everything in your house uses electricity mostly. When you flush the toilet, it uses electricity. When you turn the sink on, it uses electricity. Now, that's plumbing section, but there are kind of two different plumbing. Some use electricity, some don't. So, know yourself. Every time you flush the toilet, electrical uses. Just go with that. And water usage. Uh, Heat saving wise with electricity is you want to leave your temperature at 1. If you have a baby in the house that's under 3 years old, you want your temperature to be at a comfortable temperature for that baby. Normally that's around 79 and 80, or not 79, 80, 70, 75 to 80 is the normal comfortable temperature. But my suggestion is have every room with their own heat source That way you can have control of that heat source of that room instead of doing for every room. Because as older than 3, you want the temperature around 76. If you're in a teenage, 75 or 70, or a constant 75, 70 is good. During the winter, I always keep my temperature at 75 or 70 constantly, and I can save a huge amount on my bills. During summer, I don't even have my heat on at all whatsoever, unless it gets cold, and then I keep it on for a couple of 2 or 3 weeks. There are some houses built where if you leave something at that stable time, it will save you more, while some houses, if you turn off, it will save you more. That's due to the fact if you turn on, you pull a large current out, and that will jump your kilowatts up. That's some houses do, some locations don't. The only way to identify is knowing the equipment you uses. It will tell you the wattage and current and how much it takes to turn on. If that's more than the usage over a 2 weeks period or 3 weeks period, then leave it on. It just saves time. Uh, During the equipment you use, it's pretty much is on how to save electricity. Water is not that difficult to save on. You don't need to take a shower every day unless you need to do, and you don't need to use hot water every day unless you need to. Don't leave the water on. Flush your toilets. Use a energy saving sink. Use a dual motion toilet, a motion gravity pull toilet, or toilet sensors or something that's toilet saves the amount of pull force that goes down because there's a certain amount of gravity first and how much water per pound supposed to be in your toilet. The same thing with showers or bath. You're supposed to have a GPH shower that pulls so many water within a minute or an hour, and how much come out at one time. And to say, only way to save on something like that is using water efficient tubs and shower heads and shower, and that include the pipes. Some pipes are not allowed to be used like lead or brass, but hey, whatever. And having the best pipes will also save the water because they will pull in so much at so one time. It will save you on water. And that's pretty much it. The only way to save on trash is by recycling yourself. I recycle my paper and all that stuff. There is almost no way for you to save on trash, like unless you take your trash to the dumpster yourself. That would save you a whole lot of money by driving your trash. What I did, just drive my trash to the dumpster and just done with it. Um, it's hard to say how that would save because sometimes it's time consuming and sometimes it's not. It's up to you. That's pretty much the basic corner of water, electricity, which is also some heat source. Oil and gas are another two stories because I've been in all the houses or all the apartments where I got put in charge of. Well, oil is something you can make on your own. Gas is something you can make on your own. You just need to get qualified for it. There's geothermal heating that's also pretty efficient, but if it break, oh man, good luck digging those churches. They'll pull the plumbing out or the piping out. Um, Solar panels are good. I installed some of those on someone's house before I left here a couple of years ago and moved. I helped someone install a solar panel on their house, and we changed their electric baseboard out and stuff. Stuff like that. Follow the code, and you have to buy a permit for everything based on the state. So it sucks. Because you're supposed to have a certain permit come in, inspect it. Is that good? Nope, sorry, left. You got to pay them $100. Come out. Is that good? Nope, come out another. Oh, that's good. But you have to do this. So I'm going to leave, and you have to pay me another $100 come back again. So you're paying $600 within 3 months periods. For my experience, when I used to do all the fields of construction, trading stuff. And after that, you had to get another section inspected again, and another section inspected again, another section inspected again. So there are certain locations where you need a permit and inspection for, and certain locations you don't. Yeah, thumbs up, people. Good job. That's pretty much it on how to save in electricity and stuff. I don't leave anything plugged. My washer and dryer is always unplugged, no matter what location I go to. It's always unplugged. I'm not using it every single day or every 1 week or every 2, 3 weeks. My TV is always unplugged. It's not standing on 24/7, stuff like that. My fuse breaker themselves, I always turn my fuse breaker off because I still draw electricity to it. I'd rather have that huge jump than have a constantly current jump for that. That's why I unplug everything else so they don't pull that current through it. It's just way easier to save on electricity. Now, gas and oil is how much you use at a time, which is why I state you gotta just keep that temperature right there. Your water must be set at a temperature of, crap, I don't remember the code for the state, 180. That way, by the time it gets to you, the water temperature is at 100, and you can just turn it down from there. But I like my water at 220, so when it get to me, it's 180, unless I want to take a cold shower. And then I put my water at 100, so when it get to me at 70, and I can just drop it down to -60. And that's pretty much the best way to save on this stuff. That's the only way to save on the utilities itself. Other than doing your own utilities, like my house was gonna, I was gonna start stuff on my house as well, and make a windmill in the back, and my solar panels would generate at least 240 volts, while my windmill would generate 120 volts. That way, I would never have to pay electricity, or I can dual grid it. That way, I can pay electricity whenever I need it. That means when my solar panel stop working, and then when my windmill stop working, and then whatever electricity I put out from the grid, that's what I pay for. It's called dual gridding, and depends on certain state you needed someone to qualify to do it or expect to do it, which is a good thing. I got my qualifications to do so, and stuff like that. That's pretty much it. Water is another story. Man, unless your state say you can collect rainwater, there's no way to save on it other than getting a well. And wells can only be built under a certain inspection. Like the wells must be so far away from your house, anyway from farm animals, anyway from a road, sewage, and they gotta be set high enough where rainwater does not drip on the uh, well itself and sink into the soil. It must drip away from it and then it goes in. Basically, pretty much the standard for waste and all that stuff. That's pretty much it. Unless you have a lake and you can. I worked on one house before that had a lake, and that house had. I'm trying to figure it out. Some type of plumbing system that went from the lake, went into a box system, and that box system filtered the water out as it pours in, and then it went to another system, and went through another system that filtered the water more and heated the water, and then bring the water into the house, and then it does whatever the heating water system, whatever it does inside the house itself. That's the best way to describe it. Anyway, that's pretty much it.